Assalamu alaikum to everybody, to all the participants, to all the audience. Welcome to our first digital dialogue webinar. इस webinar का मकसद ये है कि अब इतना content available है. At this time, we wanted to bring in some of the experts in their relevant industries to talk about how they're dealing with the COVID-19 situation and especially digital payments. Just to give you a brief background about myself, मेरा नाम है उमर मोइन मलिक. I am the head of digital payments and digital wallet products at EasyPesa, which is within Telenor Microfinance Bank. The topic that we selected today is digital payments amidst COVID-19. And I think मेरा ख्याल में ये बहुत relevant और एक pertinent topic है to discuss, especially in a country like Pakistan, जहाँ पे हमारे जो बेसिक प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो तो आपके सामने हैं कि फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन बहुत कम है. सो पीपल हु हैव अ फॉर्मल बैंकिंग अकाउंट, इट्स ओनली अबाउट 20% ऑफ द एडल्ट पॉपुलेशन एस्टिमेटेड. और फिर एक और हमारा सबसे बड़ा मसला ये है कि जो हमारी सेमी स्केल्ड या लो स्केल्ड वर्कर्स हैं, जो अनबैंक्ड पॉपुलेशन है हमारी, उन बेचारों के पास तो आई मीन दे डोंट हैव बैंकिंग सर्विसेज. और अब बिकॉज दे वर रनिंग ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस, वो दिहाड़ियों पे काम करते हैं, उनकी सस्टेनेंस जो होती है वो डेली उस पे होती है, वो टोटली डिसरप्ट हुई है इन दिस लॉकडाउन सिचुएशन. सो आप लोगों ने देखा होगा एक WHO की रिपोर्ट भी एक आई थी where they highlighted कि there was a very high risk of currency notes being one of the causes of the spread of the coronavirus infection. उसके बाद हम लोग ये भी देख रहे हैं कि a lot of people are not actually, they're shying away from cash, from physical cash. They're not going to the ATMs, they're not going to bank branches. Bank branches के बाहर वैसे आपको lines बहुत लंबी नजर आएंगी because they're only allowing a certain number of people inside the bank branch. So ये जो हमारी undocumented cash based society है, हम लोगों के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा double impact यहाँ पे आ रहा है. So I think this is a very very relevant topic. मैं अपने स्पीकर्स का इंट्रोडक्शन करा देता हूँ. वी हैव विद अस नजीब अग्रवाला साहब from OneLink. He's the CEO of OneLink. It's a very very important organization for interoperability within the financial industry today. We have Shariq Mubin, who's the head of ADC channels at Mizan Microfinance Bank. We also have Atyab Tahir, who is the country head for Mastercard Pakistan. And then we have Humayun Sajjad, who's the head of innovation, digital payments and acceptance at UBL, one of the big commercial banks in Pakistan. So very quickly मैं format का भी जरा बता दूं इस webinar का. This is our first webinar that we are having. We'll have a question and answer format, and I have a list of questions that I'll ask all of our speakers. हम कोशिश करेंगे कि तकरीबन 40-45 मिनट में हम ये questions cover कर लें. And then we'll move to some of the questions. We'll pick up some of the questions from the audience members. For the audience, I'd request Kiji at any time, please use the group chat window to type your message. Apna naam bhi please mention kar dega, and make sure that the question is relevant to the topic at hand. On the video, I'll just have the video enabled for myself and the speakers. We'll try to make it less confusing for everybody else. And just general respectful rules के जो बात कर रहा हो वो unmute रखे, जो नहीं बात कर रहा अगर वो mute कर दें तो I think audio के अंदर interference कम से कम होगी. This session is also being recorded, so we'll have a recording available on YouTube sometime after the session ends. That's for all to see, and especially for those who missed out. So without further ado, we'll begin. I think जो मेरा पहला सवाल होगा वो ये है कि COVID-19 जब से पाकिस्तान के अंदर ये लॉकडाउन शुरू हुआ है, आई थिंक मिडल ऑफ मार्च, अब ये हमारा 7वां या 8वां हफ्ता चल रहा है. आई फॉरगेट, टाइम थोड़ा सा ब्लरी हो गया, बट इट्स इम्पैक्टेड जस्ट अबाउट एवरी पाकिस्तानी इन द कंट्री. It's impacted just about every industry and every vertical, every company, every business. तो मैं ये जानना चाहूंगा कि how has COVID-19 impacted your business, and in your view the industry in general, the financial services industry in general in Pakistan. And to begin with, I think Humayun, अगर आप if you want to take this question. Mayu, you're on mute again.
Thank you, Umar. Can you guys hear me well now?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, Umar, there are three things that I want to talk about regarding impact of COVID on UBL and industry. I'll share my perspective and what we have seen in our bank. I think the immediate reaction for the COVID was to stay at home. Everything sort of locked down. Banks was considered to be the one of the essential services, so we had to keep bare minimum presence open. So the first thing was sort of done was to cut down the number of branches as much as we can to limit the customer interaction and only offer the services to sort of critical customers or needs for that matter. So I think close to 40% of the branches we had to shut down for our people to stay safe while we continue to serve the nation. The first question that arrived was how are we going to make use of our workforce, particularly in our branch network, which will not be serving for a certain period of time. So the only thing that came up during those conversations was that we can make use of this workforce to work from home and spread the use of digital. And this takes me to the second thing that I want to talk about. As UBL and personally from my experience within Pakistani industry, I think our customers in Pakistan are still not demanding digital to a large extent. We really have to push digital for our customers, and that is why even to date, when our push strategy, which is across call center branches and digital marketing, is not functioning, we see a handful of customers joining digital banking from a self-serve point of view. So I still think that this country will take few more years when people will start demanding digital. I mean, contrary to this, we see a lot of hype that customers are demanding digital, but reality is at least from a banking point of view, that is still not happening. So one, we had to reuse our workforce, which was working from home, for them to start selling our digital banking capabilities to their customers, which was largely our branch network staff when they are in touch with their customers over phone or helping them during the COVID situation. The other thing that we realized was that even post-COVID, there will still be a fear factor that will remain in customers' heart, and they do not want to sort of deal with cash as much as they used to in pre-COVID times. So how, as a bank, are we going to respond to this fear and help our customers sort of get onto the digital? So on one side, customers really do not want to go digital. And on the other side, customers have this fear of how do they interact with branch staff. So there's a lot of action happening, how we make our branches safe, and yet we try to handhold our customers to come onto digital. The last thing that I want to talk about, what we have seen is a huge uptake on our debit and credit card based transactions. So customers, at least from a grocery and online commerce point of view, have started transacting significantly much more on card rather than they used to do it previously on the cash.
Thank you.
I'll stop here if there's a specific question I can answer.
Sure. Thanks, Humayun. I think जो आप लोगों ने आपने चीजें point out की हैं, I think those are very relevant again, and we see them probably across all of the financial services sectors in the industry. Shariq, would you like to add to this? I mean, you are also you are working at one of the leading Islamic banks and one of the leading banks with in terms of the digital payments and the digital services that you have out there. So, aapka bhi, do you see something similar happening at your bank? What are your experiences?
Well, yeah, Umar, हमारा जो experience रहा है, somewhat I agree with Humayun कि digital का there's been an uptake in digital, but that uptake is not really through the roof kind of uptake. So वो जो 30-40% का uptake आया, these were the people who were really on the verge of getting on to digital, but they they jumped onto this thing a bit earlier than they would have otherwise. तो वो चीजें हमें इसमें नजर आई हैं. फिर चूंकि मिजान बैंक की अगर आप देखें तो we when talk about ADC channels or digital, so we have 3 to 4 streams of products. We have debit cards and e-commerce, and we have mobile apps and all of that. So debit cards के अंदर हमारा experience थोड़ा सा different था. Debit cards में there was a significant decline in transactions during the lockdown period, because obviously people couldn't go out, shops were closed, so there was a significant decline. हमारे यहाँ already there is about 37% of our customers who use debit card as a debit card, not just as ATMs. So already there's a big penetration of debit card usage in the Nizam Bank customer base. So हमें जो additional जो uptake मिलना था वो इतना महसूस नहीं हुआ. अलबत्ता कल से जब से ये markets खुले हैं, so we can see that we're going back to the previous kind of levels on debit card spend. On the other hand, तो debit card काफी गिरा हमारे केस में. E-commerce जो है, e-commerce surprisingly was the biggest disappointment for me. We as an industry, as in Pakistan, जो e-commerce has miserably failed, especially from the point of view of the prepayments. जो लोग अभी जितने भी घरों से बैठ के ऑर्डर कर रहे हैं, housewives everywhere, they're ordering their suits and their Eid clothing and shopping online, but they're preferring the cash on delivery model rather than the cards. And cash on delivery के ऊपर भी अगर आप देखें तो deliveries are not taking place. There are horror stories in every house, and we have lost this opportunity as a nation. All the big brands, you talk about them, and they've been there are horror stories about all of these big brands. तो वो एक चीज रह गई. हमारा चूंकि इंटरनेशनल ई कॉमर्स काफी सारा चलता है, तो इंटरनेशनल ई कॉमर्स हमारा सस्टेन किया. बट इंटरनेशनल ई कॉमर्स के अंदर वी कैन सी द बिग टिकट आइटम्स लाइक द ट्रैवल रिलेटेड एयरलाइंस एंड होटल एंड ऑल.
Sharik, I think we're having
going forward also they will continue.
Please continue. I think कुछ connectivity issues आ रहे थे.
Oh, okay, all right. So I was talking about the plastics, where the plastic went down, the e-commerce sustained, but e-commerce के अंदर जो हमारा international में जो big ticket e-commerce है, जैसे आपका होटल हो गया, travel related हो गया, ये सारा e-commerce हमारा चूंकि ये big ticket होता है, यहाँ पर काफी value wise we noticed decline, but the small value e-commerce, especially international, जो Google or Facebook and iTunes and all of that, they can.
I think Sharik is
having business. That business was. Yeah, I'm sorry. There was since I'm connected with my mobile. That is why if a call comes up, then it gets disconnected. I'm sorry for that.
No issues.
Yeah. तो मैं आपको बताया था कि जो e-commerce रहा. अच्छा, फिर हमारा जो मोबाइल.
Okay, so Sharik
के ऊपर मोबाइल ऐप पे already there was a good penetration in Nizam Bank as far as the number of customers using mobile app is concerned. Yeah, is it okay now?
Anji, please continue.
Yeah, sorry. So mobile app के ऊपर we have about 25% of our customers who already use mobile app, and there's new uptake going on every month, and every month about all the new customers who come up, 25 to 30% of them who are eligible to use mobile app, they come on to mobile app in the next 3 months. So that is the kind of ratio which is going on, and which is pushing our digital uptake. And if you look at Nizam Bank, it is a fairly small bank compared, but in terms of digital, we are at par with them in terms of number of transactions and in terms of, for example, IBFTs and bill payments and all of that. And the reason is, I think the core reasons are two. Number one, we do a lot of work with our branches, and as Humayun rightly said, that you still have to sell digital through the most non-digital way. So if you expect that you will just put up an ad and send an SMS and you will expect customers to come up and sign up your application, that is not going to happen. You have to handhold the customer into the digital space, and handholding has to happen. And then number two, the user experience has to be seamless. The easier you make it, the lesser frictions there are, the more uptake there will be. So this is very clear. I think that there are two. Is formula ke andar there are only two things. Number one, you have to engage your distribution network to reach the scale that you really like to have. तो वो आपके पास अवेलेबल है. यू हैव 600-700 ब्रांचेस हैं, वो 600-700 ब्रांचेस अगर सेल कर रही हैं इफेक्टिवली तो एक अच्छा काम हो जाएगा. नंबर टू, जो आपका जो जैज कैश के जहां पर बहुत इजी ऑनबोर्डिंग हो जाती है, कन्वेंशनल बैंक के अंदर वो अचीव करना इज रिलेटिवली डिफिकल्ट. बट अगर आप उसको आसान बना सकते हैं तो वो दैट इज द की रिक्वायरमेंट. एंड उसके बाद जो तीसरी सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है वो है हाउसकीपिंग. अगर आप अपना कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस डिलीवर करने के लिए, हाउसकीपिंग इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. योर ऐप हैज टू बी, जब आपने ऐप खोली तो ऐप को खुलना चाहिए. जब आप फंड ट्रांसफर का बटन दबाएं तो फंड ट्रांसफर के मेन्यू पे जाना चाहिए. जब आपके फंड ट्रांसफर हो जाए तो पैसे भी ट्रांसफर हो जाने चाहिए. सो दीज बेसिक थिंग्स, customers ask us very very basic things. हम ऐप बनाते हैं, सुपर ऐप, we're trying to make super apps. We're trying to do so many things from one app only that it overwhelms customers these days. So जो हमारा experience है, because if you look at the Mizan Bank app, we have only three things. We have fund transfers, we have bill payments, and we have account statements. That's it. Nothing else. But it works. It works. Why? Because it's very simple and we do a lot of housekeeping. कि आपकी ऐप को चलना चाहिए और सिंपल ऑनबोर्डिंग होनी चाहिए, सिंपल यूसेज होना चाहिए. So that is worked out for us. अच्छा, during the COVID period, I think the banking industry is challenged. जो आपका क्वेश्चन था, coming back to your question कि how is the banking industry or your bank is affected, तो I think the banking industry पे तो बहुत फर्क पड़ेगा, because अब उसका जो provisions का आपको देखना पड़ेगा. जो आपके loans can go bad. लोगों की कैश जो साइकिल्स हैं वो सारी डिस्टर्ब हो गई हैं. तो हमें लोग पेमेंट्स इन द हॉलीडेज मांग रहे हैं. तो बहुत सारी चीजें इस तरह की हो रही हैं. दूसरा ये है कि आपका जो एसएमई सेक्टर था वो अफेक्टेड था. एसएमई सेक्टर के अफेक्ट होने की वजह से, चूंकि उसकी रिकवरी भी अभी 2-4-6 महीने लगेंगे, तो उसकी वजह से, क्योंकि बैंकिंग सिट्स इन द सेंटर ऑफ द एंटायर इकोनॉमी, so all the players, if they are affected, so it's not possible that the bank doesn't get affected. तो वो इम्पैक्ट रहेगा. और मेरा ख्याल है कि इस साल के जो बैंक के फाइनेंशियल्स हैं उसके अंदर ये इम्पैक्ट नजर आएगा. एंड नंबर टू, जो एब्रप्टली एकदम से डिस्काउंट रेट नीचे किया है अभी. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Sharik.
Okay. Secondly, जो डिस्काउंट रेट एकदम से नीचे चला गया, तो उसकी वजह से जो बहुत सारे बैंक्स रिलाई कर रहे थे ऑन द गवर्नमेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, उससे रिलेटेड इनकम के ऊपर, क्योंकि यहाँ तो सबसे इजी इनकम इसी तरीके से आती है कि यू इन्वेस्ट इन गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स एंड ट्रेजरी बिल्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट एंड पीआईबीज एंड यू गेट अ वेरी सेफ इनकम. तो वो चीज जो है वो अब उसका भी इम्पैक्ट होगा, प्लस ये प्रोविजंस का इम्पैक्ट होगा. तो मेरा ख्याल है कि इस साल की जो हमारा अभी फर्स्ट क्वार्टर के अंदर तो सारे बैंक्स के अच्छे रिजल्ट्स आ गए हैं, लेकिन ये सेकंड क्वार्टर के रिजल्ट, थर्ड क्वार्टर का रिजल्ट और फिर इवेंचुअली ये आपका जो फुल ईयर फाइनेंशियल रिजल्ट्स हैं उसके अंदर ये सारा इम्पैक्ट आपको, इवन दो मुझे लगता है कि जो लास्ट क्वार्टर है उसके अंदर हम फुल रिकवरी पे आ चुके होंगे. दिस इज माय ओन अजम्पशन डिस्पाइट ऑल ऑफ दिस कोविड थिंग. बिकॉज अगर आप अभी बाहर निकले तो बाहर तो माहौल बना हुआ है, अभी शॉपिंग हो रही है, मतलब एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग ऑन. आई मीन इट looks like just another day. जैसे रमजानों में रश होता है. कल I went to the Zamzam market, तो वहां पर गाड़ी फंस गई थी मेरी, इतनी शॉपिंग हो रही थी. एंड तो हम भूल गए कोविड का सिलसिला सारा. बट ये ऑब्वियसली चूंकि जो 2 महीने का इम्पैक्ट आया, इसकी एक रिकवरी और ये सारी चीजें होनी है, और तो उसमें कुछ 6 महीने लगेंगे सारे. लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जो हमारा लास्ट क्वार्टर होगा इस साल का, उसके अंदर विल बी ऑन टू द सेम काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स एज बिफोर, इवन दो थिंग्स विल बी स्लाइटली डिफरेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ जो हम बात नहीं करते हैं कि इट्स गोइंग टू बी अ न्यू नॉर्मल. बट आई थिंक वो न्यू नॉर्मल भी कोई हम शायद बहुत ज्यादा फैंटेसाइज कर रहे हैं, वो इतना ज्यादा न्यू नॉर्मल नहीं होगा. परहैप्स कुछ चीजें हम डिफरेंट तरीके से जरूर करना शुरू कर देंगे. और स्पेशली बैंकों के लिए और ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के लिए जो हम बीसीपी प्लानिंग जिस तरीके से करते थे, उसमें हमने काफी कुछ अब सीख लिया है कि यार इस तरह की चीजें हो तो कैसे आपने कंटिन्यू करना है बिजनेस. तो दैट वाज अ लर्निंग ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज. और अगर आप देखें, एक एग्जांपल मैं दूंगा लास्ट ईयर की, कि जब बैंक इस्लामी वाला इंसिडेंट हुआ था, तो जो पूरी बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री हिल गई थी, और उसके बाद फॉर बेटर एक्चुअली, एंड वी डिड अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स कि जो पिछला साल 2019 का था वो सिक्योरिटी इंप्रूवमेंट्स के ऊपर इतने सारे इनिशिएटिव्स लिए गए कि इंडस्ट्री नाउ इज अ फार बेटर प्लेस्ड टू हैंडल दीस काइंड ऑफ साइबर अटैक्स देन इट वाज एवर बिफोर. तो वो ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज ये एक तरह से बाकी इंडस्ट्री के लिए, इवन दो वी फील सैड फॉर द अफेक्टेड parties, but for the other banks, it was, I shouldn't be using the phrase blessing in disguise, but it was really a blessing in disguise कि हमने अपने आप को improve कर लिया. और फिर regulator also came up very strongly. पिछले 2 सालों में regulator ने जितनी चीजें की हैं वो शायद हमने पिछले 20 सालों में ना देखी हो, especially with respect to the digital and security and all of these things. So yeah, this is how I think the banking industry is impacted, even though I do see light at the end of the tunnel, क्योंकि digital uptake थोड़ा सा बेहतर हो गया अभी. और अच्छी चीज ये है कि जो मार्च के महीने में चीजें हमारी अपटेक बढ़ना शुरू हुआ था, अप्रैल में इट कंटिन्यूड एंड मई के अंदर वो उससे भी अभी बेहतर. तो जो ग्रोथ है वो ग्रोथ रेट भी बढ़ गया है, और ग्रोथ इज आल्सो लुक्स लाइक अभी तक सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ है ये, तो व्हिच इज अ गुड साइन.
Okay,
so for
thank
now
you.
I think this is what I can say to them.
Thank you, Sharik. I'm also cognizant of the time that we have for the seminar. So I'm going to try and merge some of the questions together. जो मेरे पास पड़े हुए हैं. I think next question I'll ask Najib साहब. Najib साहब, पाकिस्तान में हमने देखा है, of course, जब कोरोना आया तो काफी स्टेप्स लिए गए हैं. डिफरेंट फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज की इंडस्ट्री के अंदर प्लेयर्स ने डिफरेंट स्टेप्स लिए हैं. द रेगुलेटर केम फॉरवर्ड एंड देयर वाज अ फ्लरी of new regulations that were issued in March also. The government has taken certain steps as well. आपका ख्याल में जब हम आज बैठे हुए हैं in the middle of May, हम जब पीछे देखते हैं तो in hindsight, what are some of the things that we could have done to better prepare ourselves for the COVID-19 situation in Pakistan? And वो कौन से स्टेप्स हैं जो हम लोगों ने शायद नहीं लिए और हमें लेने चाहिए थे डिफरेंट प्लेयर्स को, तो हम बेहतर हैंडल कर लेते ये सिचुएशन. नजीब साहब, आप म्यूट पे हैं.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Umar, I'll also like to answer one part of your previous question also, which is very interesting, and sort of merge the answers, but I'll be quick about it. One was this how have you handled, or what was the impact of COVID when it happened? And frankly, it was absolute denial. When I look back, March 23rd, when the lockdown started, 20th March, and then 23rd it was fully functional. It was absolute denial, and when Sharik talked about the fact that branchon ko band karna वैसी मुश्किल होगी, तो traditional working from home का culture आना, वही मैं भी उसी school of thought का हूँ, शायद आप लोग से कुछ उम्र में भी. तो मसला यही था कि it was absolute denial कि कुछ नहीं हो सकता और वो ये क्या हो गया, and we have to come to work, and हमें तो करना पड़ेगा. And then now 8 weeks have passed, we are in the 9th week, and lo and behold, there was no major or minor slip up. Things were settled in time. There was no security breach. In fact, surprisingly, uptimes were very high. Transactions went up, and yet there were no major complaints. Customer servicing took place from home. 24/7 shops हमारी तीनों जो थी, वो they were operating from homes, and they did a fantastic job. So what I'm trying to say is कि paradigm कभी-कभार हम खुद नहीं कर पाते, but the rug is pulled under your feet and you find yourself floundering, but then you learn very quickly. So what couldn't be done over the last 10 years suddenly happened. So I think this was a good lesson for the industry and for a lot of us on how things can be managed if it falls on you. So that's the positive side, that this denial has very quickly turned into acceptance, and acceptance in not taking advantage. I think many of the bankers are actually now thinking on how to change things permanently post-COVID learnings. The other is this question. I wanted to include the audience also. There's one very interesting question from somebody called Rehan. He says that IBFT has shown a 67% increase. I've shared that data in a byte yesterday. That the transactions pre-lockdown and post-lockdown, there's now I have the latest figure is 70.7%. So the average on IBFT has almost doubled, and we've almost hit 500 million transactions. So it's been massive, the uptake on IBFT. And this question was that what is the trend in value? Well, the trend in value is 30%. So we were doing this for Rehan, 8 billion rupees a day, and right now it is 10.483 billion per day average. So things are really looking up on that front. So people are, that was the good news. The bad news is, which I don't share too much, but the average user uses IBFT 6.5 times a year. So there's a lot of the same people who know the benefits of digital are using it frequently. Unfortunately, the entire population is not aware. Now, this COVID has really taught a lot of people how beneficial is the bill payment system of the banks or IBFT. So we need to really now push the accelerator as soon as COVID opens and sort of register the people on internet banking and mobile banking. I keep telling the regulator also, when they ask me for recommendations, the governor was setting up some committee and wanted some immediate steps. Unfortunately, if you look at the figures, I have this in front of me, 3.5 million internet banking users out of a base of 55 million bank accounts and 30 odd million or maybe 35 odd million wallets, and 7.4 million mobile bank users registered. And even if you assume them to be mutually exclusive, which means they're not shared, it is less than 11 million people who are using this. So we've left out a huge chunk of population, bank population, not on our basic channels. So that's where the challenge is. Short of mandating it, which I keep insisting, there has to be some push from all the banks and the regulator, including targets. If you can give targets for agri, for God's sakes, why can't you give targets on signing up people? I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people, a lot of banks. And I think now this will happen because banks have realized themselves that they are on the short end if their customers are not on internet banking and mobile banking. So that's one part. The other thing, I just reiterate and move on, is working from home. I think this is the other area where all of us should really focus on. It's going to save us a lot of cost and also increase our productivity. That's for sure. We must all think on those things.
Thank you, Najib sir. I think I totally agree with you on a lot of things that you said. I think ये जो challenges आपने highlight किए हैं, ये सब लोगों को, सारी industry के, इस industry के अलावा भी आप अगर आप बाहर देखें तो बहुत से areas में लोग face कर रहे हैं, working from home. They're trying to identify कि हाँ जी, once this COVID crisis is over, I think we will come back to a new normal. I really don't think a lot of people are going to be going back to their offices. और वो जो महंगे offices rent किए हुए हैं, buildings हैं, वहाँ पे एक major disruption जरूर आएगी. Atiyab, just want to come to you. You're obviously heading MasterCard in Pakistan, and I'd like you to answer the same questions that I asked the other panelists, but please also share with us your views on how MasterCard is observing this crisis as a global company. So, in terms of what's happening in other markets and other countries, Borsa, please shed some light on what's happening over there, and how is MasterCard faring in this crisis, and what do you think, how इससे हम बाहर निकलेंगे जब, तो क्या चीजें change हो रही होंगी लोगों के लिए, especially with regards to digital payments?
Sure. So our business is reliant on our partners, which are banks, EMIs, and PSO PSPs. So when their transaction volumes go down, we directly suffer. Similar to how OneLink is in many ways. But what we saw was that the domestic transactions stayed steady pretty much. And we saw a decline in cross-border transactions that happened globally. The cross-border transactions, because of a lack of travel, we saw a sharp decline in that. And typically, March, April are big months for cross-border spend because people are planning their summer vacations, they're booking their airlines, booking hotels, which we saw a decline in. The other thing that we saw locally was that because of the lockdown, especially in places like Karachi, where the lockdown was somewhat more strict in other parts of the country, on our debit cards that we have in the market, we saw a sharp decline in the month of March when the lockdown began, and then that continued into April. Those transactions are just starting to come back now, and they're starting to stabilize. Another line of business that we have in Pakistan is the MPGS, which is internet payments. Those stayed steady, and we actually saw an uptick in internet payments. And where we were seeing a lot of transactions happening on Careem and Foodpanda, when those transactions disappeared for a few days, they were picked up by transactions on other channels. We saw a lot of garment stores see more digital transactions happening, and there was a move away from cash on delivery to digital payments. So about it's a single-digit uptick, not very promising, but there are glimmers of hope there. Globally, what we have seen is that in markets where we had contactless enabled, contactless just took off like gangbusters. In fact, there's a report that MasterCard had published. I had posted an infographic for that as well. And for the benefit of the group and the participants who are on this call, I will send out a link to you, Umar, that you can share with the participants as well, that talks about contactless payments. And we have seen 79% growth in contactless payments. So the good part is that Pakistan is now gearing up for contactless. When the recarding happened back in December and January, for chip and pin, a lot of banks decided to go ahead and issue contactless cards. And now out of roughly 8 million cards in the market, nearly half of them are contactless enabled. What acquirers now need to do is build the contactless acceptance space. To give you an example, today there are less than 1,000 merchants that are contactless enabled. We have commitments from our partners where they want to start enabling a large chunk of their merchant base in this year, so that in 2021 we are contactless ready. I know for a fact that the regulator is now working on contactless regulation, where they're looking to increase the limits that they had set back in 2018. We have seen that in markets where the limit is closer to $100, contactless tends to do really well. In Pakistan, where the average transaction size is close to $35, I think, actually, in fact, it's even lesser than that. It's close to around $18. It's expected to go up to $35. So the regulator is working on regulation to take that into account. When that happens, and when we introduce contactless, we would see people moving away from hopefully cash to contactless payments in daily use cases like grocery, pharmacy, mobile top-up. Those are the key ones where we see contactless going up, and food services as well. The other thing that we see is the telcos have really pushed their customer base to start moving away from going and doing an easy load at an agent to actually doing it from the mobile app. And we are seeing an uptick in that. We are also piggybacking on that campaign and really enforcing the message of staying home, staying safe by doing digital transactions through apps the apps that telcos have put out in the market. EasyPaisa as an example, JazzCash is an example, and there are others in the market as well who are very intent on pushing this. And I think as long as we continue to push on these use cases where there's a potential to change behaviors, we would find that in 2020 there would be a significant uptick of digital payments. With contactless coming in 2021, we will see that also enabling digital payments in Pakistan. Another big area for growth is the service industry, that is Careem, Foodpanda, Uber, Bikea. Hopefully, Bikea right now is all cash on delivery, but they're looking to move to digital payments, card and file payments as well. So with the push coming from them, we saw that in 2019 and 2020, these were the key drivers to move cash, people who were doing internet payments, to move them away from cash on delivery to card on file. We expect them to continue to play their part. And I expect that post-COVID, by 2022, nearly 50% of our transactions that are happening on the internet or e-commerce transactions would somehow be digital transactions, whether it is a QR straight from the app, whether it's contactless, where somebody is bringing a tap and pin device to the doorstep, or a card and file payment. We expect those to be 50% of their internet transactions in the next couple of years. So by the end of 2023, things should start to look very encouraging. We are also seeing that the e-commerce industry has gone from 300 million to 800 million in the last year, and it is expected to go to about 3 billion by the end of 2022. So when that happens, we do feel that this is going to there's going to be a large wave. Hopefully, we'd be able to also enable OneLink and PayPal to do e-commerce transactions. That way, we'll be increasing the base of people who could potentially do e-commerce transactions, who don't necessarily have a MasterCard or a Visa debit card, can actually do those transactions on e-commerce. And those are ongoing conversations with Najeeb Saad. So we'll hopefully make progress on those post-Eid and post-COVID. The other thing that I see in the market post-COVID is that even though banks right now are geared up to change the way they do things, they would really have to put a lot of time into contingency planning. If we look at what global reports are saying, this lockdown could be the first of 3 or 4 lockdowns that are going to happen over the next 18 months. So banks need to be prepared in their contingency planning. They need to focus on COVID-19-like scenarios over the next 18 to 24 months, and really enable their workforce not only work from home, but work from anywhere, and be able to service their customers in a way that their customers are used to. When it comes to branches, in one of my previous employers, what we saw was that as long as banks continue to focus on the right use cases and continue to build that repertoire of services in their apps, you would start to see a gradual shift. So my previous employer, we were able to move in the test branches where we had a focused intervention. We were able to move 37 to 40% of that traffic that was coming to the counters to the app by educating the customer in the right way. Of course, it's a very tedious way to do things. It's very time consuming. It requires a lot of human effort, but there are technological ways to get around it now. Doing explainer videos, using influencers, using elements that help customers really understand what is on offer. So given all of that, for me, the scenario seems very optimistic for digital payments. Just like we have seen in international markets, people taking up new forms of digital payments, I expect the Pakistani people to adopt digital payments when they are offered the right form of digital payment for the right use case. And I think that's starting to happen now, slowly but surely.
Thank you, Atyab. I think very, very insightful again, especially जब आपने contactless की बात की है. So again, something which is very exciting for us in the market to see whenever it materializes, whenever the acceptance gets up and running. I think the issuers have already started issuing contactless cards. I think a lot of apps are exploring building the NHCHC features in them as well. So I think that I totally agree with you that contactless could be something where we see a huge spike in the coming months or maybe years as soon as that gets up and running. My final questions to the participants, and I think Humayun, I'll start with you. I'm also very wary that time kafi kam reh gaya, but if you can identify some of your asks from your relevant organizations, कि यार आप क्या चाहते हैं कि और क्या होना चाहिए from the central bank, for example, from the government. How do we push? I think Najib Saab touched on this slightly, but how do we push more customers to start making digital payments? एक तो वो लोग हैं जो अभी financial inclusion में है ही नहीं ना, तो उनके पास तो bank accounts है नहीं, तो I think all banks and all financial institutions are actually making efforts to bring them into formal financial services. तो वहाँ पे financial inclusion की तो वो तो चीजें चल रही हैं. But even those who do have a bank account today, those who are banked today, we do see कि यार वो बढ़ चढ़ के अभी भी digital payments नहीं इस्तेमाल कर रहे. They are still very dependent on cash. तो वो क्या चीजें हैं, हुमायूं, if you would ask from say the government, from the central bank, from other colleagues over here, from Visa, from OneLink, commercial banks or microfinance banks, को वो क्या चीजें चाहिए to get more people to start using digital payments in the long run? Humayun, you're on mute again.
You're doing a good job, Umar. There are quite a few things that I'd like to highlight. I think starting from the regulator, there is this myth of cloud infrastructure, which we are probably all of us are struggling in one way or other. So how do we, as an institution, have access to cloud and are able to build services which we can offer to our customers and still take care of the security? So that is one thing which is long pending, and I'm hoping that given the current circumstances, there will be some support coming from the regulator to allow banks and financial institutions to leverage cloud technologies, not necessarily within Pakistan, outside Pakistan as well. The other thing which I believe from a regulatory standpoint will help banks is to clearly segregate the technology and digital committees in the banking or financial institutions. We have, from a regulatory standpoint, we do have IT committee mandated by the regulator at a board level, but there needs to be a digital committee or a digital forum mandated by the regulator because that requires an absolute different mindset. So that is from a regulatory point of view. I think from across the industry, I still see huge gap between how the fintechs or the upcoming, particularly EMIs, are operating, which has a lot more to do around design and agile and DevOps. But the banking industry particularly is still learning. You know, they're still on the learning curve. So I think there is a need for across industry of building a basic understanding of what kind of operating model, infrastructure, and skill set you need by default to build digital capabilities. Traditional technology and organization structures won't really suffice in that context. So I think there is a need for education on that front. Particularly on payments, there are three things that I want to talk about. There were some questions around QR payments. I think we as an industry, including our payment schemes, banks and telco operators, we have made sort of disjointed efforts on taking QR to our customers. And in fact, what we have done is that we have rather pushed our customers away from QR just because we were, to a large degree, independently trying to play around with our own ideas of how the QR would fly, just like it did in China. So, as much as I personally strongly believe in the QR payments, I think unfortunately we have confused the customers, and more so we have confused the merchants of how the QR payments would actually work. So there is a lot more effort that we need to do on merchant, and let merchant educate the customer rather than us as industry trying to educate the customer. So I think there needs to be some industry level efforts. Although I know there is one QR and QR unification efforts happening, but very, very slow. The second thing with regards to payments that I want to talk about is contactless payments. As much as, again, I think as an industry, we're trying to approach contactless, we are still trying to approach contactless from a mandate or something that we have to do because everybody else is doing. Specifically after COVID, there is need for a concerted effort of how we push contactless payments in Pakistan across issuing as well as the acceptance. The last thing that I want to talk about is tokenization. I think the tokenization, card on file is something that we all have been experiencing, but that's not where the tokenization is heading. There are these concepts like IoT and devices and Internet of Things happening around so many devices. So I think that will sooner or later will become reality. So how do we institutionalize tokenization in our payment systems and payment rails in Pakistan is something that we, not only from a technology standpoint, but more importantly from a security, education, and awareness standpoint across the ecosystem. The last comment that I want to talk about is the faster payment initiative by State Bank. I think brilliant initiative, but within faster payments, how does it impact a customer? There is need for building those use cases. There's, in all fairness, there's still this confusion. If we have a near real-time payments, why do we need faster payments? And if there are faster payments coming, what exactly it is going to bring? And just like tokenization is going to hit seriously in next 3 to 5 years, the overall industry, I think faster payments is something which will absolutely change the payments dynamics. And I've seen this in other countries. And that's where I think faster payments and tokenization has to go beyond banking schemes and regulator. It has to go into masses like developers and third-party small players. They really need to capitalize on faster payments and tokenizations. If there are specific questions, I'd be happy to answer. I think that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah, Humayun, I'd like to pick up a few things that you mentioned, that you talked about. So आपने बात की contactless की भी आपने बात की, आपने QR की भी बात की है, especially one QR की बात की है. So Najib Sahab, I want to come back to you as a local payment scheme in Pakistan, जो आपने PayPak की launch की थी. We do see the central bank actually pushing banks a lot कि जी आप PayPak को default card बना के आप pitch करें and whatnot. However, from Easy Paisa's point of view, मैं आपको बताता हूँ कि when we go to our customers and we ask them to pick up the PayPak card, there is a very low awareness. एक तो वो बहुत बड़ा मसला है. And then जब आप वो comparatively उसको evaluate करते हैं with the services which are available on say international scheme cards, तो फिर PayPak को select नहीं किया जाता because उसके ऊपर online transactions आज enabled नहीं हैं, contactless वगैरह चीजें. So आपके point of view से where do you see PayPak going and how soon do you see it going there in the near future? Najib Sahab, आप mute पे हैं please.
Yeah, PayPal की journey जरा रफ रही है because of the recarding mandate जो स्टेट बैंक आ गया था, तो उसकी वजह से it would have probably been taken up a lot faster and developments would have been swifter. Having said that, we are now 3.9 million cards. So PayPal is certainly has ramped up, and surprisingly the cash withdrawal transactions are almost at the same as any MasterCard, Visa, UPI on the withdrawal part. The weaker bit is obviously the point of sale. That's still about a lower portion because we are about 12% of the market right now, at least, if not more. But on the point of sale side, we're about 4% of the market share. So there's a long way to go there. One of the reasons is it's not being available on e-commerce. That we are working with a few players and few banks which are acquirers. Hopefully third quarter, PayPal will also be on e-commerce. So that will take place. The other bit I wanted to tackle was tokenization, both for PayPal, but what we keep telling at OneLink that we are not competing with Visa or MasterCard or UPI or anybody for that matter. We are a facilitator and we want to what we call co-opetition is work with schemes also. So tokenization first, hopefully Visa and then MasterCard will be bringing to Pakistan through OneLink Gateway. And we see a lot of potential. PayPal will follow suit, but this is here to stay. So tokenization, and already two banks have announced, and more will come when we bring in the multi-issuer wallet, which means a universal app where smaller and mid-sized banks can use. So that is coming. So there's a lot of work going on. I can rest assured that the banks and the fintechs are not idle right now. And this has been a godsend. I was reading some of the questions, and I think it will only spur the activity. And lastly, with regard to the point on, it will come back to me. Sorry, I'll continue. Somebody else speak. I'll speak about it later.
Thank you.
So, Omar, can I add to that? Just from enhancing the domestic scheme, I think it's very important to understand that international schemes have a role to play. And we've been having conversations. I'm sure other schemes have been having conversations with OneLink, because there is a lot of technology that international schemes have developed, whether it is on the processing side, the switching side, or on the cyber threat intelligence side, which should be on offer and is on offer for the domestic scheme, OneLink, to take on and enhance PayPal. Right now, MPGS is the predominant internet payment gateway in the country. So for us to enable PayPal on that only helps us touch more transactions and enhance the digital ecosystem. So the kind of conversations that at least we've been having with OneLink is to provide them with the right technology and the right tools for them to be able to enhance the offerings that they have in the market, so that those 3.9 million customers who have PayPal cards are afforded the same opportunities as MasterCard and other scheme customers using the backend technology that we would be providing. So that's hopefully soon between OneLink and MasterCard, we would probably be announcing something in the market as well. We have been working on it for the last couple of months. So we'll bring some exciting news to the market soon. COVID has delayed it a little bit, but rest assured we'll definitely bring excitement back into the space soon.
Excellent. Thank you, Atyab, and thank you for sharing your comments as well. Shariq, last question. We're almost out of time. I'll just come back to you. आपसे मैं ये सवाल पूछूंगा. I'm reading the questions that everybody is posting on the group chat. So I think एक जो सवाल उठ के आ रहा है वो है IBFT की fee के बारे में. And we saw that the central bank came out with a mandate to remove all fee around IBFT sometime back in March. Or in April, May, I think every bank saw that the number of IBFT transactions, जैसे नजीब साहब ने भी बताई हैं, they have gone up significantly. at least on the EasyPaisa network, we see that our IBFT transactions have gone up almost 200 to 300%. So मैं आपसे सवाल पूछूंगा, सवाल ये पूछा जा रहा है कि IBF after COVID, inshallah, would banks come back to charging IBFT transaction, and if they do, what is going to be the impact? Are we going to see IBFT transactions drop down or go or continue at the same pace? How do you see that happening?
A बहुत ही relevant question, and I think this I'm very happy that this question has come up. देखिए जो सबसे important चीज है ना वो ये है कि regulator should create a level playing field for all the participants to compete with each other, but not really do the pricing regulation, because when you start regulating the prices, it defeats the purpose of making investments into the right areas, improving your services. Why would I be motivated to do to create a better service environment than you when we are both not making any money out of it, right? तो अगर किसी का कमर्शियल डिसीजन, जैसे अभी आपका सादा पे एक नया फिनटेक आ रहा है और वो सादा पे ये कहता है कि जी मैं सारी फीस खत्म कर दूंगा, then let it be their commercial decision, right? तो वो अगर समझते हैं कि वो उनकी कमर्शियल प्रोपोजिशन है, they can win the market by that, by all means they can do it. But if I think that I have a product which is offering a value and we can charge something to deliver the value, and so we can build upon it further also, then we should have the free hand to price our products, compete with each other, improve our services, maybe reduce our prices over time when we have the competitive pressures and all of that, and the market will eventually come out in a way that everyone will be charging the right price. Because if 40 banks hain, so you customers also have a choice. They can go to SadaPay, they can go to JazzCash, for example. JazzCash also for some time they made their IBFTs free. It was a commercial decision. तो उनके पास choices मौजूद हैं, वो कम चार्ज वाले बैंक से लेके ज्यादा चार्ज वाले बैंक तक कहीं पर भी जाके कर सकते. तो अब देखिए, अब मेरा दूसरा ख्याल ये है कि जो अभी अपटेक आया है, इस अपटेक के अंदर pricing may have played some role, but it was not really the reason why IBFTs have gone up. The IBFTs have gone up really because of 2-3 reasons. Number one, because it became a genuine need for customers that they could not just hand over the cash to people they wanted to, so they found an easy way out. And then number two, इस दौरान बैंकों ने market बहुत किया IBFT को. Every bank put up ads, branches को train किया, branches को बोला कि आप customers को digital करें, customers को आप mobile introduce कराएं IBFT के साथ, ये सारी चीजें करें, because at this point in time when cash needs to be replaced, and there are some health related hazards which people are talking about, so this channel needs to be promoted. So everyone did their part in promotion, and that helped the overall IBFT numbers. When we will resume the charges, I don't think कि इसकी वजह से IBFT नीचे जाएगा. उसकी वजह क्या है कि once you do an IBFT and you know how to do it, it is an awareness issue largely than the pricing issue. When you do an IBFT, so the value that you get out of it, अगर आपको 50 रुपए खर्च और आप अपने को दे सकते हैं, very easily in any city of Pakistan, having bank account in any bank of Pakistan, such a useful facility that people don't mind paying some amount. जो स्मॉल वैल्यू ट्रांजैक्शंस हैं, स्मॉल वैल्यू ट्रांजैक्शंस के ऊपर आप प्राइसिंग को कुछ बेहतर तरीके से, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मिजान बैंक में 1000 रुपए तक की ट्रांजैक्शन यू कैन डू फॉर 5 रुपीज. तो अगर आप 5 रुपए पे 1000 रुपए तक की ट्रांजैक्शन कर सकते हैं, तो 500-700 रुपए किसी को देने, 800 रुपए देने, 5 रुपए की कॉस्ट आ रही है, नॉट अ बिग डील. जब हमने इसको 5 रुपए भी किया था, तो ऐसा नहीं था कि एकदम से बहुत ज्यादा 1000 रुपए के नीचे ट्रांजैक्शन होना शुरू हो गई थी. तो जो इम्प्रूवमेंट थी वो बड़ा ग्रेजुअल थी उसके अंदर बिकॉज ऑफ द प्राइसिंग. द प्राइसिंग डज प्ले अ फैक्टर, बट आई डोंट थिंक इट इज द फैक्टर. एंड देन बैंक्स शुड बी एबल टू मेक मनी because for example in case of Mizan Bank we are spending millions of dollars now in the last year and this year and next year. In these 3 years we are uplifting our entire digital banking platforms and we are investing millions of dollars. Now if other banks, why would they be motivated to invest such a big and now the capacity issues are there because आपकी मोबाइल ऐप, अगर हमारे पास मोबाइल ऐप पे एक दिन के अंदर 50,000 IBFT की ट्रांजैक्शंस हो रही हैं, 40,000 बिल पेमेंट की ट्रांजैक्शंस हो रही हैं, so huge volumes coming up. Now we have to support these volumes with a lot of investments in technology. So on the face of it looks very easy. अगर आप 5-6,000 ट्रांजैक्शंस पर डे कर रहे हो तो कोई मसला नहीं है, but then we are sustaining the kind of levels that Mizan Bank has now come to. You need to make serious investments to make it work. So I don't think ठीक है, एक हमने डिसीजन लिया कि इसको हम करें कुछ अरसे के लिए फ्री, बट देन द चार्जेस शुड कम बैक सो दैट ये सस्टेनेबल हो। तो एक तो चीज ये होगी चार्जेस की। दूसरी जो चीज मैं चाहता हूँ कि स्टेट बैंक, यू नो, जो योर प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन माय आस्क फ्रॉम द रेगुलेटर इज रियली कि जो हमारा रिस्क वाला जो पोर्शन है ना, हम कंट्रोल फ्रीक हो जाते हैं। यू नो, आप एक जो है वो बायोमेट्रिक वेरिफिकेशन करें, आपने मोबाइल ऐप की रजिस्ट्रेशन करनी है तो बायोमेट्रिक वेरिफिकेशन करें, आप इधर भी ओटीपी डालें, उधर भी ओटीपी डालें, ये भी करें वो भी करें। तो मेरे ख्याल है इसके अंदर एक बेहतर बैलेंस होना चाहिए कि जहां पर कस्टमर कन्वीनियंस एंड सिक्योरिटी एंड कंट्रोल और ऑल ऑफ दैट, वो एक जो बैलेंस है वो बैंक शुड क्रिएट, एवरी बैंक शुड डू इट्स ओन बैलेंस। और उसके अंदर जो है वो ऑब्वियसली कुछ एक ब्रॉड गाइडलाइंस होनी चाहिए, नॉट वेरी स्पेसिफिक गाइडलाइंस, क्योंकि जब आप स्पेसिफिक गाइडलाइंस करते हैं तो स्टेट बैंक की ऑडिट टीम आती है और फिर वो बड़े, यू नो, इंस्पेक्शन टीम एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, विद दैट इट बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू हैंडल। बट देन, you know, if you really want the creativity and you want innovation to take place, you will have to, you know, broader your regulatory जो guidelines है उसको broad करें, उसको specifics में ना जाएं, और एक हाई लेवल गाइडलाइंस देंगे भाई आपका जो फ्रॉड रेशियो है वो उससे ऊपर नहीं होना चाहिए, या फिर आप कस्टमर को 3 दिन में कॉम्पनसेट करें, ये करें वो करें, जो भी करें। बट बैंक्स शुड कम अप विद देयर ओन कंट्रोल्स एंड ग्रो देयर बिजनेस, बिकॉज जितनी आप फ्रिक्शंस आती हैं, फ्रिक्शन के साथ आपका डिजिटल जो है ना वो गोस डाउन। फ्रिक्शन इज द की थिंग दैट यू नीड टू रिमूव from your digital experience. If you can't do that, then let's forget about digital. तो ये चीजें हैं। बाकी if there is any question, so I can take.
Umar,
जी हुमायूं।
या मैं 2-3 चीजें जो कि मैं इसमें ऐड करना चाहता हूँ। एक तो ये कि स्टेट बैंक ने बड़े स्पेशली पेमेंट्स डिपार्टमेंट ने स्टेट बैंक में TSD ने बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग डिसीजंस लिए, एंड देयर इज सॉर्ट ऑफ अ मोमेंटम जो कि पिछले 6 मंथ्स में बिल्ड हो रहा है स्टेट बैंक की तरफ से फ्रॉम अ पेमेंट डिजिटाइजिंग पेमेंट्स पर्सपेक्टिव। सो कोविड के टाइम में जब उन्होंने ये डिसीजन लिया कि बायोमेट्रिक की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं होगी फॉर द डिजिटल एक्टिवेशन, दैट वाज द रियल गेम चेंजर। In all fairness, as a bank, we had already geared up our machinery to focus on bringing more transacting customers rather than just subscribing customers onto the digital app. So वो हमारी जो effort है वो almost 300%. So the number of transacting customers that we saw last year, 30-day transacting customers, they literally grew by 200% just because State Bank allowed transactions without the requirement of customers having to go to the branch to activate through a biometric. So I think that was real game changer. And to top that, जब fee उन्होंने free की State Bank ने, again that was an incentive for some customers. And I'll go back to I'll support you know, the fact that the fee is not the real friction in digital banking. Just like Najib said, there are some regular customers, they use digital banking for the convenience. आप थोड़ी देर के लिए खुद सोचें कि वो जो बिल आप पिछले 3 साल से ऐप पे या इंटरनेट बैंकिंग पे पे कर रहे हैं, अब वो मैं बंद कर देता हूँ 2 महीने के लिए, और आप एक काम ही करें कि जाके ब्रांच में पे करें, एंड देन यू विल स्टार्ट सेइंग कि यार मेरे से 500 रुपये ऊपर ले लो, लेकिन आई वांट टू पे दिस बिल थ्रू इंटरनेट बैंकिंग. सो वेयर वी स्टैंड टुडे, institutions across telco and banks are investing heavily in these technologies, and that requires some incentive for these banks to continue for us to continue investing. So I think fee is not so much barrier, but I also feel that the low value high frequency transactions should have much less or maybe close to zero fee, and high value transactions need some fee because there is a lot of security involved, particularly on the high value transactions that kick in as soon as you know that happens on the digital channel. Particularly on IBFT, I think actually customers से ज़्यादा banks ने ये realize करना शुरू किया for the health and safety of their staff. अगर उन्होंने बेसिक बिल पेमेंट्स और यू नो बैलेंस इंक्वायरी, IBFT, ये ट्रांजैक्शंस ब्रांच से दूर ना की, तो उनके अपने स्टाफ के लिए ऑपरेट करना सस्टेनेबल नहीं होगा. particularly large banks see huge traffic coming into branch just because of balance check करना चाहते हैं लोग, bill payment करना चाहते हैं, आके गपशप लगा के चाय पीना चाहते हैं, all of those things, which really banks decided कि यार इस पे हमें push करना है कि customers को नहीं आना चाहिए branches में, to make sure कि हम branch में अपने staff की health और safety को भी करें. And that's where now branch staff firmly believes कि इन transactions के लिए तो customers को नहीं आना चाहिए, and they are rather trying to educate customers. So I don't think customers को बड़ा फर्क पड़ा है. It is us who have started putting more diligent efforts to bring customers onto digital.
I agree with you, Mayu. I think just to add to your answer, I think banks have also now realized कि जो वो पहले 100 रुपया या 150 रुपया IBFT के ऊपर एक चार्ज करते थे, that fee, I mean, so you know what, I'm a big proponent of having a middle ground. आप किसी एक ट्रांजैक्शन को 100-150 रुपए भी चार्ज ना करें और आप उसको जीरो चार्ज भी ना करें, because there are platforms and there's an investment that has been done to facilitate those transactions. एक fair value होनी चाहिए for every IBFT transaction that goes through. But I think banks have now woken up to that fact also. At the pricing that they used to have for IBFT prior to COVID was restrictive to a certain degree. I agree with Sharik कि a lot of the transactions we see now picking up वो इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि उनकी प्राइस गिर गई है सारों की, but because लोगों की need है to do IBFT transactions. But at the same time, I think banks are also realizing that maybe it's not right to charge exorbitantly for certain services. You must charge according to the value you are providing.
Umar, sorry to interrupt. इसमें जो मेरा ख्याल है ना, देखिए, middle ground, I agree with you, middle ground होना चाहिए, but then it should be a commercial decision of a bank in a competitive environment. So if I charge very high, अगर मैं कोई 150 या 200 रुपए charge करूँगा, eventually people will not do IBFTs from my platform. They will do from EasyPaisa because you're charging the right price. And you'll get, so जो telcos की example है कि पहले एक वक्त में 12-15 रुपए की कॉल होती थी, जो बाद में 1 रुपए की कॉल बन गई. सिर्फ 6 सालों के अंदर या 7 सालों के अंदर वो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आया. तो बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री के अंदर भी उसी तरह का ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आ जाएगा. पीपल विल कम्पीट बिकॉज ऑफ डिजिटल. हमने देखा कि जो हमारे ब्रांचेस के अंदर चेक्स का वॉल्यूम है और पे ऑर्डर्स का वॉल्यूम है वो हर महीने गिर रहा है, और जो डिजिटल का वॉल्यूम है वो बढ़ रहा है. पिछले 3 सालों से क्वार्टर बाय क्वार्टर, एवरी क्वार्टर वी हैव नोटिस्ड द चेक्स एंड दिस थिंग गोइंग डाउन and digital is increasing. So which means that it is now becoming a very basic need of customers. When it has become so basic, so अगर कोई बैंक ज्यादा चार्ज करेगा तो they will not bank with them. और अब तो एंट्री और एग्जिट बैरियर भी बड़े कम हो गए. मैंने खुद EasyPaisa का अकाउंट अपना खोला था मोबाइल के ऊपर. It took me 2 minutes and credit goes to EasyPaisa team and you've done a wonderful job. 2 मिनट के अंदर वो मेरा वो खुल गया EasyPaisa का वॉलेट, और उसके बाद में उसमें CNIC बेस्ड ट्रांसफर्स के लिए मैं उसको यूज करता हूँ. एक्सीलेंट एक्सपीरियंस. तो एंट्री और एग्जिट बैरियर्स खत्म होते चले जा रहे हैं. जैसे आसान अकाउंट को आप डिजिटाइज कर देंगे, कस्टमर ऑनबोर्डिंग और आसान हो जाएगी. तो जैसे जैसे आपका एंट्री एग्जिट बैरियर कम होगा, प्राइसिंग विल ऑटोमेटिकली कम होगा. तो आपने जो रेगुलेटरी एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करना है वो आपने ऑनबोर्डिंग को आसान बनाना है. ऑनबोर्डिंग आसान हो जाए, एंट्री बैरियर्स खत्म हो जाए, प्राइसिंग विल बी will be the last thing we'll be worrying about.
Agreed, जी. Agreed, Sharik. Although I do disagree with you on one thing. 2 मिनट नहीं लगते यार EasyPaisa अकाउंट खोलने में, 10 सेकंड लगते हैं. So please उसको जरा देखिएगा.
I was slow.
So देखें, we are now standing at 5:12 p.m. and I do realize that we are over time. There are a lot of questions that have been posted on the chat. I would really like to have every one of them answered also. I wish I had more time. I'm the panelists. I think आप लोगों ने जो बातें की हैं यार, उसके अंदर इतनी चीजें थी that I would have really loved to dive into and understand more of the the great things that we are bringing to the market. Atiyab जैसे आपने mention किया, या नजीब साहब आपने बताया कि क्या क्या चीजें हो रही हैं. But again, 1 घंटा मिला हुआ था इस सेशन को, so we are at an end. I would really like to thank all of you guys again, Atiyab, Najeeb Saab, Humayun, Sharik, for taking out your time and to attend this session. Thank you guys very, very much. To all the audience, again, thank you very much for tuning in, for asking your questions. I hope this webinar was interesting. I am cognizant कि हम लोगों ने कोई खास conclusion पे तो नहीं पहुंचे, but we did talk about a lot of the things that are being felt across the board for all financial institutions, for the PSO, PSP players, for the international payment schemes. Digital payments Pakistan में बहुत कम हो रही हैं. I think everybody would agree, and we need to actually do a lot more. We need to catch up with the rest of the world. और जितनी चीजें हम जितना जल्दी कर सकते हैं वो बहुत जरूरी है. It's also very important to understand that किसी एक player के हाथ में सब कुछ नहीं है. We all have to work together as an industry. The financial institutions, the branchless banking players, switches like OneLink, international payment schemes like MasterCard, we all have to come together and do our part. And ये realization होनी चाहिए कि जी ये किसी एक player या दो players के हाथ में है ही नहीं. I am a very, very firm believer of having everybody sit down and discuss things out, because when we do our discussions, we come to a mutual point. We come to a mutual agreement. एक हम ऐसी जगह पे आ जाते हैं जहाँ पे सब agree करते हैं. So even with the regulators or with the government, everybody is very excited and everybody does want digital payments to pick up. But then everybody has to come together, sit down. I know discussions में बड़ा time लग जाता है back and forth, but now we have technologies like Zoom. So hopefully things should go much faster. Wherever people are, they should be able to connect, they should be able to discuss, they should be able to come to a conclusion, a mutual understanding of how things should go. And yeah, inshallah, the next couple of years are very, very exciting for Pakistan. It's going to be very exciting for the banked customers. It's going to be exciting for the unbanked today, because finally they will have a set of services जो वो use करना चाहेंगे. And with things like contactless or tokenization, जो और businesses हैं जो आज payments digitally नहीं करते, वो cash and delivery या cash के ऊपर ही reliant हैं, hopefully they would also come into the fold. So with that, I'd like to wrap up the session. Again, once again, thank you very much, everybody. This session was being recorded. Inshallah, ये जल्द जो है YouTube पे live कर दिया जाएगा. Please stay tuned to further sessions जो होंगे digital dialogues that we'll set up. And hopefully we can maybe do another digital payment session which is slightly longer than 1 hour. Tariq, Najib Saab, Humayun, thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, Umar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you.